today, care for a growing number of people with a certain type of devastating dementia, the help that's available right here in our area.
For more.
And now up next, a devastating condition that's being diagnosed more and more often now. We're talking about a form of dementia that does have local care and support for patients and their loved ones right here in the Quad Cities. We're going to discuss that and much more to come too today on PSL. A growing number of people are being diagnosed with a kind of dementia called Lewy body. It's different from Alzheimer's, but needs a specific kind of care that is available in our area. Paul Smith is the facilitator of a local Lewy body caregiver support group. Paul is here along with Mark Stroshine, who's from Senior Star at Elmore Place. Paul and Mark, it's great to have you both here today.
Thank you.
Paul, you have personal experience with this Lewy body dementia through your, it was your dad?
I do. I was a caregiver for my father for about 6 years.
What do you see about Lewy body that worries everyone so much when they hear they've been diagnosed?
Well, hallucinations often go with it, so they don't really know what's happening there. Also confusion that comes and goes and no particular trigger. So you don't know what you're going to get from minute to minute sometimes.
Well, Mark, you have a memory care unit at Senior Star, and I think it's ever expanding.
It is, and I guess the needs of, we see different types of dementia being identified, like Lewy body. I don't think a few years ago people recognized it. I'm sure it was there, but I don't think we recognize it. So, as we train our staff, we try to, again, address the specific issues that would be related to Lewy body.
There's still a lot that's misunderstood about dementias in general. There are many different kinds.
There are, definitely.
And Lewy body, LBD, is one that people are knowing more about. It does get confused with Alzheimer's, Paul.
Well, it does, and it's a little more difficult to diagnose in the beginning. So the symptoms present as Alzheimer's in the very beginning, and then other symptoms come to the front, and then we get the different diagnosis.
Well, I know you facilitate a support group, which we're going to tell you all about here in just a little bit, because specifically for Lewy body dementia, caregivers and those who have loved ones going through it, because caregiving for someone with dementia is going to be one of the most difficult things
it really is.
Anybody can go through.
Absolutely, because it's constant. You can't stop doing it. You have to constantly be paying attention and caring for that individual.
We were talking about a woman just last night. We had in the news who had gotten lost.
Yes. A
woman with Alzheimer's. And that's very hard on caregivers, isn't it? You did this on your own, Paul? You took care of your dad? He lived with you, or?
He was in assisted living. He wasn't in Senior Star, but a similar facility. I was holding down a job at the same time, so yes, mainly me. I had a brother who lives on the West Coast who would fly in every once in a while and help relieve a little bit.
How do you feel about care facilities, such as Senior Star, who are able to take care of people in a professional setting like that? How do you think that's working out?
Well, I think it's critical. I don't know how I would have gotten through it if there wasn't a facility like that. Probably I would have had to have taken off work one way or the other.
What's the specific care that you give for, we're talking about Lewy body dementia right now, but do you have to address the different kinds of dementia, Mark?
Well, we do. I think there's some similar strains that run through all of them, but a lot of it is, again, is being able to redirect people when they're exhibiting the dementia, some of the hallucinations that Paul alluded to, or some of the behaviors that get out of control. And I think one of the key things we try to offer is to become the primary caregiver so that families can continue to be families versus a caregiver. They can continue to be a husband or a wife or son or a daughter and not be the primary caregiver.
Because it really overwhelms the family, doesn't it, Paul? I mean, you just have to, if you probably feel you're living it 24/7.
Well, you are. And even when I was at work, I would be getting maybe 4 or 5 phone calls a day from Dad being confused about something.
Oh, my. Let's talk to caregivers. People going through this right now with all different forms of dementia. When they're taking care of these folks, how do you help them in the support group setting?
Well, in our support group, we mainly focus on emotional issues. Everybody there is very, very tired, and they're very stressed. And it just helps to be able to talk with other people that are either going through it right now or have gone through it.
Well, if this is something you want to talk to, somebody like Mark or his staff at Senior Star, there's a Senior Star at Elmore Place. memory care unit you guys are handling, I think you're probably learning weekly new ways of dealing with these patients and their families.
Absolutely.
To try to help in every way possible. And then Paul is in charge or facilitates an LBD support group that meets, it's the second Thursday of every month?
Yes.
And Paul, where do you do that in Silvis? At Genesis?
At Genesis/Illini, used to be Illini Hospital.
And now, if someone's going through a dementia caregiving that's not Lewy body, are they still welcome? I mean, how do you
anybody would be welcome. You know, the Lewy body dementia is a little different than the other ones.
Yeah, some similarities to the caregiving, probably,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Thank you both so much.
You're
I think
welcome.
it helps to hear from folks like you who are really dealing with this in the trenches to help all the rest of us. So,
thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. So up next, a different kind of outreach.